Right, lads, it's pretty simple. You've done amazing things in the last year and a half. Relegation to now a team that everyone is standing up and looking at as we approach the Champions League. But can you do it on the world stage against one of the best teams in the world? All eyes on Man City versus Newcastle on Saturday night. We don't necessarily have expectation, but we have a hell of a lot of optimism and no fear, which is unheard of going to a place like there for a team that's just won 4 trophies in the space of 3 months. It's the Man City Newcastle preview, Newcastle fans, so do us a favour and stick around. Welcome back to Black and White Banter, you absolutely beautiful Newcastle fans. I'm going to keep this one quite short and sweet. I'm actually recording this game on the morning of the game. That's how... Recording this video on the morning of the game. That's how busy I've been lately with my job. Getting barely any sleep. I'm obviously going to the game today, so I've got to shit, shower, shave, take care of the dog, and then head over to the party bus. So I just thought I'd jump on and do a very, very quick match preview. Another reason this is going to be the shorter match preview is because I have done a video this week on how Newcastle can beat Manchester City. Just a bit further down, looking at a little bit more at their stats. But before I very quickly get into my thoughts on the match, Newcastle fans, do me a favour. Even if you don't like my voice or my opinion by the end of this, give us a little likey loo. That goes a very long way. And if you do like my opinion and you'd like to check out my other videos, but also if you want to stick around for that match vlog, first away competitive match vlog of the season, then do me a favour, whack the subscribe. And the love on YouTube more recently has been absolutely great. It has. I'm seeing a massive difference in how many views videos are getting, comments that are coming in. It's just, it's lovely. It really is. I've always enjoyed doing these videos regardless, but to see some of the comments coming in is really, really nice. So whack that subscribe and be a regular commenter on my videos. So it's here. And the matches don't come any bigger. Even with the Champions League in mind, this might be one of the toughest matches Newcastle play this season, because Man City, to all extent and purposes, are probably the best team in world football right now. Who could argue different? Premier League title in the bag, Champions League in the bag, Super Cup in the bag. Yes, you've got your Real Madrids and your Barças we might play, but Real Madrid away with Man City away with Haaland and whatnot don't come much more difficult. But as I said at the start of this video, for me, this is all about whether them players that have done wonderfully can really grasp this opportunity, go into it with no fear, play the way we know they can, and really let the world take a look at Newcastle United. Because don't forget, we're going to big up the opposition, of course we are, and the pundits will, and the papers will. But we're a team with world-class players now, and us Newcastle fans need to start talking about ourselves in a little bit of a different light, and I'm guilty of it. You know, it's still very early in this project, but we do have world-class players, and we are allowed to say that. Kieran Trippier winning La Ligas in his career. Sven Botman, one of the biggest defensive prospects in the world, and he's already shown he can do it on the big stage. Bruno, getting in the Brazil squad. Tonali, just playing in the Champions League for AC Milan. Isak, we do have world-class players, and that's why we can't continue to go places like the Etihad and play with any sort of fear. We can't. Obviously, the first 10 minutes of the match will depend on that. And this Newcastle team is filling us Newcastle fans with the biggest levels of optimism going to the biggest team in the country and the world that I can remember for a long time. Even going back to when Man United, as much as it pains me to say it, took over the world. When Man United were winning everything in years gone by, and we'd go to Old Trafford and we'd always lose. I never went there or watched those matches feeling as optimistic as I do with this one, because I feel like we just don't know what can happen in this. It's almost a free hit still, because let's face it, if we lose the game tonight, and we lose respectably, which I would like to hope if we did, none of us are going to be crying about it for days and days and days on end. It's the second game of the season, and it's the toughest match of the season. But what I think we have is a platform here of a team that can really do something at the Etihad, and we proved it at St James's Park last season. That 3-3 draw was incredible. We should have beaten them that day. We really should have. If we'd just been a little bit more disciplined in our defence, I think we might have. And I think for a neutral, this has the potential to be an amazing game of football. Now, as I talked about on my video just below, How do we do it? Well, first and foremost, we have to be disciplined. These are all the normal principles of football, but they apply so much more to Man City away. We have to be very, very disciplined in everything that is instructed from Mr. Howe. One switch off of concentration against a team like Man City and you're punished. Absolutely, you are buried in the ground. So that has to be a first. I think we have to press at the right moments. I don't want to see Almiron, Gordon and Isak pressing every single time their defenders have the ball at the feet. Yes, that's going to help. Yes, that's going to force mistakes. And Man City will make a couple. But I think if we do it in every moment of this match, that's going to play into Man City's hands a little bit. That's how they want us to play. And Guardiola, I believe, will be planning around us doing that. And then they've got Edison, which feels like a different, their own player, an extra player with the quality of his passing. He then pings the ball out and that leaves us a little bit short in terms of what defensive work we have from that front three, getting back to support their fullbacks and etc, etc. And that allows Man City's players, their fullbacks will bomb on to get between the lines and outnumber us a little bit. So that's one thing I think Eddie Howe will have to take a look at. Set pieces. Man City conceded a third of their goals from them last year. They do not like set pieces. Anthony Gordon's going to attract a lot. Almiron on his day can attract a lot. But we need to be better at them. For some reason, our Newcastle team in the last year, we've done everything else amazing. To say we've got some brick shithouses, Botman, Byrne, Shea, Isak, some really, really tall guys in there. We don't do well from corners. We don't. Maybe it's Kieran Trippier's deliveries. Maybe Tonali needs to take a look at those. But this is an area of the game on Saturday that we need to utilise, because Anthony Gordon, if he gets enough of the ball, like he did against Villa, will attract free kick after free kick after free kick after free kick. We need to be doing things with those. We can't just be wasting those opportunities. Finally, we need to be clinical. And this Newcastle team last season did not take enough chances when they were presented. If you remember Etihad, 2-0 we lost last season when Lascelles actually had to play. We kept Haaland quiet. It was a respectable day, but we did have chances that we didn't take. Callum Wilson fluffed one, which was unlike him, from a couple of yards out. And it could have been a different scoreline that day. I think he fluffed a really good chance when it was 1-0. We need to be clinical. I've got no doubts about it. Isak, give him one chance, he'll probably score. Give him two, he'll definitely score one of the two. He's a very, very good player. Anthony Gordon, in those areas, I'm still a bit unsure about how raw he is, whether he is clinical in front of goal. Almiron, you don't know whether he's going to bang in a worldie or whether he's going to fluff his lines. But we're not going to get a million chances. I would love to say we are. We're not. We need to take the ones we get. We need to, especially early in the game, if we get chances, they're crapping their pants. They've got to change their playing style. We need to take chances. And also, we need lady luck. And that applies to every single football match in the world. You need a bit of luck. Maybe a penalty decision from VAR to go your way. Maybe a cheeky red card for someone from a bad tackle that's a bit dubious. We need a bit of that. But I'll tell you what, I am going down there full of beans. And, oh, sorry. Hope that one didn't go down the microphone. With regards to team news, I've given it some thought. I wouldn't go any different. I was debating whether Dan Burn should come out, but there isn't much of a pace difference really between Matt Targett and Dan Burn. And Dan Burn against a pacey Diaby and Cash on Saturday, I thought he did okay. So I would go the same team. The midfield picks itself of Tonali, Bruno and Joe Linton. Gordon, I think for the purposes of not only how bright he looked, but how he can attract those free kicks, stays in on the left. Barnes is a wonderful option to mix things up and maybe be a bit more clinical in goal and be on the last man, depending on how Man City is set up. Isak picks himself. Callum Wilson chomping at the bit to make a difference in the second half. Almiron and Murphy is a big one because I was all for Murphy playing against Aston Villa, and when Murphy came on, I actually think he contributed a little bit more than what Miggy did. I genuinely do, and he got a lovely assist for Barnes's goal in the second half. Lovely through ball. So that one, I'll see what Howe goes for on that one. I would assume he's going to go Almiron, but that one doesn't concern me too much because it will be a lot about the work they put in defensively as well. Am I confident going into this one? Well, I've gone back and forth. I did a TikTok video where I said a draw. I'm going to go for a win. I'm going to go for 2-1. And if that comes to bite me on the arse and Man City fans somewhere in the world, like I do for spoof videos, records this and takes the piss further down the line, then so be it. But this Newcastle team has given me no reason not to fancy us to go to the Etihad, really play them at their own game, and maybe come out on top. Man City have got no Kevin De Bruyne. They've played in the Super Cup for 120 minutes with a piss-up, with travel back. I feel like there's something telling me that it's written there to at least get a really positive point, but maybe go one step further. And can you imagine the fucking scenes if Newcastle go to the Etihad and take the points on match day 2? Can you imagine? Wow. Newcastle fans, I said I'd try and keep this one a bit shorter and sweeter. Let us know your predictions for Man City away. I will be on the party bus. I've already got my cans chilled in the fridge. I've still got a butter me sarnies. Social club booked out before. Plenty going on the match vlog this time around. It's not going to be a case of straight to the stadium, but when is it ever? So if you don't want to miss that, whack that subscribe. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know who you'd play and if you are feeling as confident as I am. And I will see you on that match vlog for what I'm hoping will be one of my favourite ones to look back on all season. Up Eddie Howe's Etihad smashing Mags. Fingers crossed. How are the lads?